Most weekends I go and see some sort of live music, and last weekend was no exception. Despite the illness I'm suffering from, Mrs. Disgruntled insists it's a head cold, whereas I think it's an as yet undiagnosed superbug that would kill a lesser man. Now, the band I went to see, they are a big deal. They sell out every venue they've been booked in this year, including outside concerts. But at the weekend, they were playing a village hall out in the sticks. And I'd say where it was, but I can't remember the name of the place. I thought, that's very, very retro. I shall go along to that. And earlier in the day, I got my sat-nav to see how long it would take me to get there, and it worked out the average speed at about 35 miles an hour. Now, like most men, when a sat-nav tells me how long it's going to take to get somewhere, I view that as both an insult and a challenge. I've had my TomTom for 6 years and it still hasn't worked out that I drive like a twat. But when I went out that evening, once I got off the main road, it made sense. Because it was all twisty little back roads in the arse end of nowhere. And then the fog came down heavily and I thought, great, I'm now in a fucking horror film. But eventually I got to the village. And you know, most places they'll have a sign that says welcome to wherever, or thank you for driving safely. What this place wants is a sign that says, please put your watch back 150 years. And I know a lot of people will go, oh, it's oldie worldy or it's quaint, but for me, it feels more... Hang on. It feels like that. And then the sat-nav did the thing that sat-navs do, where it goes, you have arrived at your destination. And I looked round and thought, well, bloody haven't, have I? I must be near it. And I spotted a chap walking past with his dog, so I wound my window down and said, excuse me, sir, I'm looking for the village hall. And he looked at me with a mixture of shock and confusion for a few moments. And then said, it's up the road, on the left, and then floated away into the night. I thought, that's typical. I got a village full of people and I found the fucking lunatic straight away. But then when I parked the Jag, I noticed there were 4 teenage lads. Oddly, none of them had a mobile phone surgically attached to their hands like most teenagers do. But again, all 4 were just staring. Then the penny dropped. They're in the sticks in the middle of nowhere. They've never seen a fucking car before. And I thought about getting out to reassure them, to go, be not afraid. This is not witchcraft. This vehicle is propelled by the internal combustion engine, a mechanical marvel from outside the realms of this village. But I didn't, because I think their reply would have been, no, stranger. We all know that beyond the village there is nothing but dragons and an army of ghosts. Now take your black magic and be away with you, false wizard. So instead I got out and locked the car, then made eye contact and checked the handles. It's locked, you little fuckers. Then I went into the village hall itself. And there weren't many people there when I arrived. But most of them were normal. Although again, there are a couple of staring locals. And I tried to work out why they were staring. And I think it was one of 2 things. Either they were just baffled that there are people in the world that they aren't related to. Or, what I think is more likely, they've built a fucking great Wicker Man somewhere and they're looking for a suitable sacrifice. But as it got nearer to the performance time, the place started filling up. And it was mainly normal people, although there were a handful who looked like they shout at aeroplanes and worship the sun. And these are the people I couldn't stop looking at, because as the band came out, you could see a few of them just recoil back, going, oh my God, these men, they've got long hair and tattoos. Are they the Vikings that our ancestors warned us of? Are they here to rape and pillage? Probably, well, most of them wouldn't. And again, I want to go over and explain to them, fear not, you simple-minded inbred half-wit. They are not weapons those men are carrying, they are electric guitars. And a guitar is a cousin of the lute, which the minstrels who roam round here probably still fucking play. And electricity, well, beyond the village, we found ways to harness the lightning itself. But it turned out it was an absolute belter of an evening. Everyone had a great time. I mean, for some of them, it's the first time in one day they found out motor transport and music. It must be mind-blowing. But I had to be up on the Sunday. So I left at about 10:30, and in all seriousness, I got in the car, started the engine, and the engine management light stayed on, and it's never done that before. So immediately I was looking behind me, checking they're not in the back seat, because they always are in films, aren't they? The same reason I don't have a mirrored bathroom cabinet. Because, you know, you look at yourself in the mirror, open the cabinet, get something out, when you close it, there's some fucker behind you with an axe. Knife, I think that was, not an axe, Viking axe. So, what I did then was I just turned the engine off and turned it on again. It was fine. That's British engineering at its finest. So a really good night, but an odd combination of great music and a slight worry that I might have been buggered to death.